An all-new Smallville is just moments away on the WB's new Tuesday.
Welcome to Smalltalk Episode 5. This is the weekly Smallville rewatch retrospective podcast. I'm one-third of your co-hosts. My name is Ryan Cam. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This week, we are going to be taking a look at Smallville Season 1, Episodes 13, 14, and 15. But I got to introduce my co-host. First up from 3D Movie Cinema, it's Jacob Collins. Jacob, how are you?
Oh, I'm great. I heard you were shit-talking me last night on DreamWorks. What an asshole.
What happens on Discussing DreamWorks stays on Discussing DreamWorks. But also introducing the last third of our co-hosts, Matt Wyatt. Matt, how are you?
Dude, I'm good. Talking about the three new episodes of Smallville, bro, and I'm so on board.
Yeah, we've got a real eclectic mix this time around. One not so good one pretty good one, and one that just went out of its mind. But let's dive straight into it. First up, by talking about Season 1, Episode 13, called Kinetic.
An untouchable secret society.
It's like they stepped out of the wall.
Unexplainable in form.
You saw what those guys did. It defies every law of physics.
They are unstoppable. An all-new Smallville.
Depressed from losing his scholarship, Whitney joins a gang of thieves. Sure, let's call him that. He gets a meteor rock lace tattoo and gains the gang's power of phasing through walls. They rob the Luthor mansion and seriously injure Chloe, who is interviewing Lex. So, yeah, this is a very Whitney-heavy episode. He joins who I am going to call the Bro Gang, because they say bro a lot and they are annoying. I did not like this episode. Jacob, you go first.
This was a dumb episode. I don't really like it at all. I was literally honestly, when I do rewatches of Smallville, I usually skip this episode. Yeah, there's like 2 episodes in season 1 I really skipped. And like I said, these are 2 episodes I usually skip in season 1. Because I'm like, and also they redo the same freaking plot in season 2 or 3 with a baseball gang instead. It's that stupid. It's like, this is not that fascinating. I really don't care about this. I'm like, and also they give Whitney, wouldn't Pete be the one that you give this more of a story to? Pete? Because Pete is at least, Pete has more of a connection to Clark than Whitney. Whitney's just like, hey, this asshole bully I'm going to have to help him get out of a stinky situation. And it's just and also, by the way, I do like, there are parts of the opening I do like, but one thing I do not like is how they break into the safe. They're like, oh, I used to bang this maid at Lex's mansion, man. And, that's how she figured. I'm like, first off, how would you know how does the maid know what billionaire lets a maid into the safe? What billionaire does that? I'm just sitting there going, that makes no freaking sense logically at all.
I mean, safes have got to be clean. So, I mean, maybe she was let in to clean it. I mean, it's not too far out of bounds, I suppose.
Yeah, they can phase through fucking walls and they can get in and out. Personally, Lex, like I said before in the last episode, he has the worst security guards ever.
That is undisputed.
It was so stupid, especially when he was about to make the drop and try to make the trade of that disc that they're blackmailing him in to get into for the $1 million that they're trying to pull, and he comes alone. And that really bothered me. Like, why would you come alone? Why didn't you just grab your men and fucking take their asses out? They're just a bunch of goons, of bandits. They're like the fucking wet bandits from Home Alone. Like, come on.
They're dude bros, too. They're like the dude bros. Like, bro, we got this, bro. Dude.
Well, that's the reason why they went and got Whitney. Because he's one of the football jock that they can easily, manipulate, because he lost his scholarship and he's got nothing to lose. He's working at his father's store. He lost his scholarship. Now he feels like he's got nothing to lose, and they wanted to use him for his weakness and use a fresh guy for the job.
You know, what really makes me mad about this episode is that the Whitney stuff could have been interesting, because I've been very hot and cold on Whitney on this show so far, but I've always left the possibility open because of the stuff with his father that could be interesting going forward. It's like here he loses everything and his first instinct is to join the bro gang and get a tattoo. It just feels completely, I don't know why, it just feels completely immature. It didn't really gel with me. And then they like get kryptonite lace tattoos, which I'm sure that makes absolutely no sense. That farts in the general direction of logic. Then they get drunk and then they go through this tunnel and they're like, whoa, yeah, let's go, yeah. And then they do this thing with the trucks where they're phasing through active trucks on the highway. What would have happened if Whitney got run over? They'd just be like,
But
Bro.
but the scene
Yeah,
where he was
bro.
about to get run over by the truck, it feels like it could have taken him 20 seconds to move out of the way. Or it could have taken the driver to drive and turn the other way, because there's no upcoming traffic on the left side of the lane. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just me nitpicking, but God, it was just a little bit ridiculous. Yeah, like you said, like, what if Whitney didn't phase through? Like, oh God, you just pretty much committed murder.
You know what would have happened if Whitney was killed? They would have got a beer and poured one out for their homie.
Oh yeah, here's for our homie who died
Poor
tragically
Whitney,
so
bro.
soon.
Bro, he's gone.
Time to get another fresh blood.
Huh.
And did you know that there's a cameo in the for the background actress, the one who kisses that dude right in front of Whitney when they're about to have Bruce? That was Evangeline Lilly, which I did not recognize her. I did not know that was her until Tom Welling, who brought that up during their Talkville podcast.
In a couple
I could
of
not
episodes.
believe it. She came off as a background actress at first, that she wasn't a major star until the MCU. I mean, yeah, sure, she was on a big hit of show of Lost, but the one that really set her a name on the map was the MCU movies with Ant-Man.
Actually, wasn't it Lord of the Rings or not? The Hobbit?
Oh, no, it was the Hobbit. No, it was the Hobbit. She was in the Desolation of Smog and Battle of the Five Armies. That's when one of the first appearance. Not a first appearance, but another major movie that was such an underrated film that was directed by Sean Levy. It's with Hugh Jackman and it was called Real Steel, which I thought she was terrific.
I love her in Real Steel. She's great.
That's a good movie. I'm surprised more people don't talk about it, but yeah, it's as close to a Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie as we will probably ever get.
Which I kind of understand the reason why people were not so intrigued by because I thought the trailers did not do the movie justice.
It's basically Rocky, but with robots.
Exactly.
Yeah. We've got some good Lex moments in this episode at the very least. They're few and far between, but they are there. And we've also got some good Jonathan moments here as well. Lex basically saves Chloe when she falls out of that window, which is a very nice thing to do. I have not seen the whole show, and I'm watching this for the first time, so don't say what happens. But I have a feeling they're maybe setting it up for maybe them becoming a thing, and I'm going to be dead wrong about it. I know it, but conventional wisdom states that the Cloex or the Lexi?
Chloe? No, it's actually Chloe, I guess. Clerks.
Cloex.
Or how about,
oh, there we go, Cloex.
sounds like a dish detergent. Wash your dishes with Cloex. But
well, for Jacob and I, we're like, we can either confirm or deny that they're going to be couples.
I can neither confirm nor deny details of any such operation without the Secretary's approval.
I do like one thing when she was hounding him. I did like one thing whenever she was hounding Lex and just ask about level 3 and stuff, and then right, come on. And then how Lex says critics are our friends. They show us our faults. I really like that when he said that.
Oh yeah, that was a great response. But also, she already suspects that Lex is avoiding her on purpose, just getting phone calls because he's avoiding to answer the question about what's going on at Luthor Corp, what's going on with level 3. I love how she was very straightforward and she's acting more like a reporter. But there was one thing I did not like was when Chloe is ambushing and tried to investigate Clark's life and his adoption. That was, even though it was a good parts of it. But I understand that she has to be a reporter because it's part of their work school assignment. And Clark played it out as such a great performance that, hey, why you had to pride in my life? Like, why do you have to do that?
I think that's Zero you're talking about, that episode.
Oh, wait, this is the wrong episode. God.
You're on the wrong episode, but we're on Kinetic. We'll get there.
Yeah. I keep forgetting. I'm jumping way ahead. What's wrong with me?
That's what? That's not in this episode. Chloe didn't.
cross that bridge when we get there. But we do get a good Jonathan Kent moment where he drops the line of "You can't save everyone," and there's a great moment here where Clark is just chopping wood with his hand. Like that was just great. Like he's chopping the wood with his hands. And
he just busting it out with his bare hands to take out his frustration because he was so like bummed. Like, what can I done differently? And they just those goons just ambush him out of nowhere, and there was nothing he could have done because they all had the kryptonite in the system, and it was weakening him, and there was nothing that he could have done to save Chloe. And it was unfortunate because it's given him the lessons, like you said, with Jonathan telling him that you cannot save everybody. You're not a god.
Yeah, I like how Kevin Costner says in Man of Steel, he's like, you can, or not even Kevin Costner, Russell
Jarrell.
You could save everyone, Kal-El. And I'm like, well, Jonathan Kent's full of shit in Smallville then, because
that really goes against what he said. It literally just contradicts
full of shit. When he said that, I was thinking of Man of Steel. I'm like, well, Russell Crowe would seem to disagree with you.
No, but I love the line where John says we need firewood, son, not toothpicks.
Oh, that was a great line. I love that he brought that line, and I believe that John Steiner brought that up in a Talkville podcast in the interview. Like, hey, we need fire, not toothpicks.
Yeah, I actually watched that episode of Talkville. I've been working my way through the Talkville back catalog through the seasons, and the show is so good. But the John Schneider episode when he was on there, he seems like the nicest man. Like he just seems like a quality human being. I'd love to.
I really respect him as a person because they actually were driving themselves to work. They were working. They were talking about they worked so many hours, like Tom Welland says, I was almost got into a car accident because I was like I'm half dead asleep. And so finally, everybody in the Smallville cast signed a petition saying, you're going to kill our Superman. We need a driver. And still, when they didn't do nothing, John Schneider drove from Canada to Los Angeles and went into the head of the WB and told him, we need a driver for him. And then, like, basically after that, he drove right back to Canada. And then the next day, they got Tom Welling a driver. I'm like, that to me is gangster of him to do that.
Putting our collective foot down, which was basically yours. The story that got back to Peter was that you wanted a driver or something.
No.
And it was all about you. I mean, working 12 hours a day. You drove for an hour to get there. You worked for 12 hours. You had to drive an hour home. And I said, Peter, this guy is going to wind up a fatality on the side of a road in Canada.
Yeah.
And you don't want that to happen. He said, what? I said, it's not he's demanding a driver. It's that it's unsafe for him to be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
He shows up to work. It's dark. He goes home. It's dark. Somebody is not caring for the health and well-being of your lead character.
Yeah, considering the strikes going on right now, we need a few John Schneiders in this world, or a few more anyway. But
he was the one actor that can truly embody the Jonathan Kent character, and he was the definitive on screen. Like, I mean, I love Kevin Costner. I loved his portrayal, but I loved the John Schneider because, one, we got more time with them for the past several years in that show. So he brought more weight to the story with Clark, and I loved it, and he really owned it.
Yeah, but we're going to see an interesting side of Mr. Kent in the last episode that we talk about this evening. But
I did like that Lex says, like, when Lex is on the phone, he's trying to be like, look, Clark, I'll deal with it. Like, he's going to take care of this situation. He's like, before they, the second time they show up, the first time he's like, I'm going to take care of this, Clark. Like, oh man, Lex is really really intense about this. Like, he's ready. Like, I will kill these motherfuckers if I have to.
He'll do it himself, even though he's not going to hire a bunch of hired men to help him take on those bunch of bandits. I know I brought that up before, but come on, dude, really? But I know he's trying to be the badass Lex Luthor and shows him that he's not to be messed with.
Also, did you notice that their hangout, when they bring Whitney over there, they have a Nintendo 64 in 2001.
Right.
And I'm like, why not a PlayStation 1? Like a Nintendo 64?
I guess they love it. Hey, Nintendo was still popular.
I mean,
there's still a lot of people that really dug Nintendo.
Nintendo 64 in 2001.
I mean, that's true, and they could have gotten like an Xbox or a PlayStation because it still existed back in the early 2000s.
I don't know anybody that's playing Nintendo 64 in 2001. Everybody's playing a PlayStation or an Xbox.
Yeah, because I had in like a Super Nintendo. I started off with Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, and yes, in the early 2000s, I started off with
Wasn't
the
like GameCube or
PlayStation 1
something
and
the next
2.
thing you should have been playing? GameCube?
Yeah, GameCube was the popular console at the time
Like,
too.
dude, we're so heavy. We can't even have a PlayStation. We play
They
64 all the
they
way, man.
they could have gotten a bunch of flat screens, and they could have gotten a lot of
They're
crazy
playing old
fancy
technology.
things. They're just playing like old retro technology, like whatever.
You're a dude, bro. Gang, you should have like flat screen, like a big screen TV, and like a PlayStation, and like Rob Zombie playing. But no, they got like
But also, how are they able to figure out how to figure out that once they get a tattoo laced with their ink with kryptonite, and they can phase through through any solid objects? I guess they put out like, how would they know that would work? Like that that never got brought up.
Also, like, wouldn't it have jitters or something like Earl did? Because like, you know, it's
well, he got
kryptonite.
Well, that was like the hail of the like kryptonite, like that was just spraying like mist. It was just kryptonite mist in the factory that got exposed to it in level 3.
Kryptonite just has its own magical powers. It just teaches its own body.
Yeah, it gives them maybe the needle goes through their skin, and that's why they were able to like inherit phasing through walls. Maybe that's just my personal
guess. If you smile too much, it'll make you look like the Joker.
Probably. Or when you just scar yourself and just cut yourself and force yourself to smile.
Also, did you, by the way, notice Whitney's shirt in the movie? He was wearing that shirt when he was working, and it just looked like a Best Buy shirt. And I'm like, that is so tacky, because it's like he's wearing a blue and yellow shirt, and I'm like, that is so Best Buy. It just literally looks like a Best Buy shirt.
I didn't think about that. I did not think about it.
He worked at Best Buy. I'm like, it's like
you work at a shoe store,
and you're wearing a Best Buy outfit.
Sporting store, the sporting goods store.
And it's his dad's. Wouldn't he be wearing like his just natural clothes with a name tag? Why would he be wearing a blue Best Buy?
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, they probably would let you wear regular outfit, like casual outfits, if you're working at a sporting goods. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not an expert. I never worked at a sporting goods.
I never have either. But I'm just thinking, like, I understand Dick's Sporting Goods that make you wear like a khakis, and they make you wear like a green shirt.
Oh, what about Foot Locker? They make you wear like a coach, like a referee uniform or something.
But like, it's his family-owned store, so I would imagine just he's wearing like a suit or something. He'd be wearing like a business suit and then like a little name tag or something. Like a Best Buy shirt. I'm like, come on. Like, even like when Clark sees him, he was just like, oh great, here comes Kent. He's gonna ridicule me. Like, you know, just like, why would you think that? Like, Clark has never once literally been an asshole to you the whole time. He's like,
yeah, it feels very contrived, and Whitney especially dropping the line of,
I bet you think it's just great to live in Smallville your whole life. Take over the farm from Dad.
Ironic.
But from his own point of view, he's just going through existential crisis right now because he lost a scholarship. He thinks he's going to be living and working at the store for the rest of his life, and he's going to be one of those high school jocks that peaked in high school. That's what he was going to feel like. He feels like that there's no future for him.
I like how this episode pries on that, like Whitney's future. This is basically an episode about Whitney's future. Like, he's afraid that I'm going to become just like these guys that are just living on the past and playing Nintendo 64 in their 30s.
Also, the storyline with Lana and Whitney being in conflict because Whitney won't open up to Lana. I'm old enough to remember literally in episode freaking 10, Shimmer, they literally did the same thing. Like, this relationship is definitely not built to last.
Awesome. But to be fair, I know I'm going back to this. On the fashion police, are we okay or nay on Whitney's outfit?
I'll give it a pass. I mean, it's very out. It's stuck out like a sore thumb, and it's a little out of place. But you know what? I just simply not think about it too much.
Fashion police vote. It's good.
It's all good.
We need to start a segment called the Fashion Police, and we'll like small talk Fashion Police, and we'll just go terrible or good, and we're like terrible. Just have like a meme. This is terrible.
Bad boys, what you want? What you want? What you gonna?
I'll come up with something, but I think we've covered just about everything.
Oh, we forgot about another subplot storyline with Lana trying to reclaim that flower shop, that the whole movie theater and the coffee shop that she's trying to pitch it to Lex. I think that was in that episode. If I'm mistaken.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's.
I do like how Lex like offers to like partner with her with the talent. like become business partners.
But the one thing that really bothered me is like, well, yeah, she's the reason why she's trying to bring back that place because that's where her parents used to go to. And I'm glad that Lex was able to like de-escalate this situation. Like, nah, that's not that he had good sales pitch, but not good enough.
He
Like,
wants
you got to
to
come up.
so
You got to come up with a
bad.
better sales pitch than that. That would have made Lex so stupid if he just simply say, "Okay, you can do it."
Like Ryan,
The
have you
deal's done.
noticed? Have you noticed, Ryan, though, how he looks at Lana like, oh, I want to get in them jeans, boy. Like he's just looking at her like a piece of meat. Like he's like, don't worry, Lana. I'll go. We'll go co-partners together on this, okay? And the way he just looks at her, like in the flower shop when he was just looking at the way he looked at her, I'm just like, you want to get with her, don't you, man? Because it's like he's literally like staring.
Dude,
at
it was so obvious. Even though he's in his 20s and she's like 15 or 16, that's a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say it, but
well, it says in the Smallville compendium that Lana is 15 and Lex is 31.
Yeah, and Whitney's like 17, 18. He's in his senior year and she's a freshman.
Clark's like 16 or something. That's what it says in the Smallville compendium. That Lex is 31 years old.
He's 31? Wow.
I thought he was in his mid-20s or something.
I thought he was too, but it says in the Smallville compendium that that Lex is 31 years old.
I could have sworn that Michael Rosenbaum brought up that when we first see Lex in Smallville during the meteor shower, he was like 9 years old, and it's been 12 years. So,
but then again, this is literature. Like this is not the writer saying this. This is like some author saying this. So
probably, yeah.
They could be like the showrunners and the writers are two different people, you know. So he could be that, but they're just following what they see in the script or something that, you know. But I will say, have you noticed also? There's three things that irked me. Actually, two things. One thing I liked in that was there's a lot of Lost Boy nods in this because have you noticed where they're partying all night and then during the day the shades, it's kind of reminded me of Lost Boys.
Damn, I totally forgot. Yeah, it definitely had some like very
like
a lot of influence. It had a lot of Lost Boys influence from that movie.
That's what I was there looking at that. I'm like, this reminds me of Lost Boys because
jeez, I didn't think about it.
He shows up every night, he's partying, and then they even try to kill him like they do in Lost Boys. And so I'm just
it was part of the initiation
to
see if test out their limits.
I mean, see, this is what I'm saying. Doesn't this remind you of like a Lost Boys episode? I'm just like watching.
Man, it's been a while since I've seen the original Lost Boys, but now when you brought it up, it makes perfect sense that the episode was a lot of it Lost Boys influence.
Should have been called The Boys. This episode, The Boys.
Well, then it's going to be a ripoff title from the other show that's called The Boys.
Yeah, but also, have you noticed that there are two things that irked me in this episode? Lex has no idea around his surroundings. Like he walks into that meat hanger thing, and then once he hangs up his phone, he looks around and goes, "Oh crap, I'm trapped." So like, you walked in there, and he had enough time to walk back out, but he walked around, was on the phone, then he hung up the phone, was like, "Uh-oh, trap!" And then they shut the door. I'm like,
I didn't realize it was a trap if you're in a room of meat hooks.
Immediately with the meat hooks, I'm like, this is a red flag.
I mean, he came in so unprepared. He had nothing in that briefcase from that disc that they forced him to give to them when blackmailing him, and he got nothing. Like, what do you expect? And he was so lucky that Clark came in to rescue at the right time. Barely inconvenience, which is a quote from Pitch Meeting. Barely inconvenience. Like he's not questioning him. Like, how the hell did you get here? How did you know I was here, dude?
Also.
And Chloe in the hospital bed, she was like freaking like Pete was able to hack the freaking server from the phone line before Wi-Fi even existed at the time. Like, how in the hell did he was able to do that?
2001. This is 2001.
This is in 2001, and he was able to hack for the freaking phone line. Like, what the hell? Jesus.
The year of our Lord 2001, that is not how technology works.
Also, have you noticed
4 years old and I know that.
Brian,
I bet the writers in the room are like, "Hey, shut up."
Have you noticed, Brian, whenever the guy dies at the end, the leader of the boys gang, the dude bros gang, like he just literally like something falls and he goes, "Ah!"
Because he thought he was gonna phase through because Whitney, his ink had wore off with the kryptonite, and he thought that his tattoo was not wearing off until Clark spotted it. It was like, oh yeah, he's about to get squashed.
I laughed my ass off. When that noise.
Clark didn't even bother to grab him. He grabbed Whitney and then let him get squashed. So he inadvertently killed that guy.
Superman's a murderer.
We don't even see a body. We just see
But it's a show. It's like rated TV 14. There's no gory. It's not R rated.
Sure. I know that.
If it was, I know I'm just being facetious.
What was his last
like
word?
if it was R rated, imagine that being splat and soup of blood.
This would have been The Boys. He would have been guts everywhere.
Oh God, there would have been a lot of guts, a lot of organs everywhere.
What was his last words, Evangeline Lilly? Ah! That was his last words.
Yeah, those are his last words. He got his little adrenaline rush.
I wonder if that was his real voice, or did they just get like one of those like sound effects?
The ADR.
Yeah,
they kind of ADR'd it.
Ah!
I believe it.
I believe it too, but yeah, bringing it all home, minus some banging lines from Jonathan Kent and from Lex Luthor. This was a very mediocre episode. Jacob, what say you? What's your rating, 1 to 10 shields?
Out of 5 shields.
Slightly higher than I expected, but okay. Matt, what say you?
I thought it was an okay episode. I mean, I didn't dislike it as much as you guys, but I thought the some of the pros outweigh the cons. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. A little up for the shield.
I am not going too crazy, but a little notch below you guys. I'm going 4. I did not care for this one, really. Again, John Schrader, Michael Rosenbaum just carrying this episode on their back. And Tom Welling, of course, is good as always, but I mean...
Hey, John Schrader?
Did I say John Schneider? Excuse me.
John Schrader. Like, who the hell's that?
I was thinking of like race car driver Ken Schrader. I just combined the
like
two.
Rob Schneider, John Schneider, Rob Schneider.
But yeah, very mediocre episode. But we go from a mediocre episode to a much better episode in every aspect. Season 1, episode 14, called Zero.
I think Lex is in serious trouble.
Whatever's happening with Lex is starting to affect you.
A friendship in question.
There's a lot I don't know about you. I'm asking you to stay out of this.
A secret that won't stay buried.
After tonight, you'll never hurt anyone else.
Who are you?
What do you want? Don't you remember? You killed me.
An all-new Smallville.
As Lex helps Lana prepare for the reopening of the Smallville theater, the Talon, great name for a shop, by the way, as a coffee shop, a man from Lex's past named Jude Royce, because I guess John Rolls was already taken, arrives in town and begins stalking Lex, wanting to hold him in conjunction with a shooting death at Club Zero in Metropolis 3 years ago that Lex may have been responsible for. Meanwhile, Chloe looks into Clark's past as an adopted child, while Martha and Jonathan try to thwart Chloe's moves. So this is definitely it's for sure a Lex-heavy episode. We learn more about his past here, which was alluded to. Phelan's back.
Pain.
But his presence is not as annoying as his episode.
But at the time that cop shows up, that's when my mind, like, how much you really fucking hate that cop so much. Like, oh, fuck, he's here again.
Ryan's like, holy shit.
Instant migraine whenever he shows up. He is the Jar Jar Binks of Smallville. But
good thing he's in there for a brief time. Thank God he's not in the whole episode, in the flashback.
He's in for a bad time, not a long time. But I really did enjoy this episode, though, because it really focuses on Lex, who is one of my, if not my favorite character on this whole show. And you learn more about his past, which I've been itching to find out for a while now. Jacob, what say you?
I really like how like Lex sets up Jude. Like he literally, and then it just goes sour. Like, he was just like, I'm here to basically. Lex was like the show Cheaters. He was just literally trying to bring her here just so he can lure her in there, just so he could catch. Like, see, like all you were missing was with a hidden camera and like a camera guy come on, go, see, look, they're kissing. See, he's cheating on you. Cheaters with Lex Luthor as a guest star. You know?
That would have been great. I would have died if they actually had a hidden camera show of Cheaters in that episode when she was cheating on her fiance with 2 women in the Club Zero. That would have been perfect.
Lex Luthor has a microphone. How do you feel, Jude?
How do you feel? This would have escalated a lot differently, and it would have a different drastic outcome, and then the killing would not have happened in the first place.
For sure, but I want to shout out the actress Judd Tyler who plays Amanda in the episode. I thought she did very good in her limited capacity. She maximized her minutes. I thought she did a very good job. Cameron Dye did a good job as Phelan, and I also shout out to Corin Nemec who plays Jude Royce. I thought he did a very good job as well. Basically, seeing Lex shook like this, I thought was unexpected, but I really dug it. Like, at least for this one episode, you see Lex off kilter really for the first time ever.
A little bit of a shady past that hasn't been revealed, and Clark starts to see a different side of him. It's like, how much do I know Lex really? Like, there's a lot of stuff that he has done that could be unforgiven.
Yeah, I do like that. You know how he tries to attack Lex like a couple of times. Like, first off, he literally tries to like put a music in his car, and everybody gathers around when he's blaring his car. I call bullshit on that originally because I'm just like, wait a minute. Why would, if your music's blaring, everybody's just gathering around like, oh my God, Lex Luthor's blaring his music. Oh my God. I'm like, have you never been around people? Like, I imagine somebody's going to blare music. I mean, all this is people would probably walk by and go, man, this asshole has his music blaring.
Yeah, they would have kept walking. They would not have gathered and just watched the whole goddamn thing of him trying to get something that was like something in his car that was playing that loud ass music that was from
also,
the Club Zero.
How would a CD player blare like that? A CD player.
How did he manage to break into his car? I mean,
also it's the worst mixtape ever. Is like killer. He won't say it.
It does the whole screaming.
Unsolved mysteries.
That's definitely our unsolved mysteries question for the week.
How did Phelan get it? How did Jude get in his car?
How did Jude get into the car of one of the richest, if not the richest man in Smallville County?
In a public sidewalk.
On a new episode of Unsolved Mystery.
Yeah, definitely seeing Lex off kilter was the meat of the episode by far. You see people like genuinely mad at him. Like the whole scene where basically all of the Kent's cows die. I'm like, yo, that was crazy.
Dude. And that was unexpected. That was so unexpected when we see them pandering over and seeing a bunch of cows already dead and they were poisoned. Like there was someone was poisoning their cows and it was oil drums from Luthor Corp.
I love how Lex offered to reimburse him. He goes, I will, of course. He's like, I love how sincere Lex is. He's like, Mr. Kent, I am so sorry. I will get to I don't know how this happened. I'm going to get to the bottom of this, and I will, of course, reimburse you for your livestock. And that right there just shivs them. Like, Jonathan even looks at him like he's a piece of shit. And, like, I love how Jonathan's like, see, you think money can buy everything. Money can't buy everything. Like, and that, to me, I thought that was just such a
he was so disgusted. It's like, oh yeah, you think money's gonna make everything go away.
He was so mad that I literally thought he was gonna punch Lex out.
Oh, I thought that too.
Because when I saw it like winding up, John was like a mix of really mad and really sad all at the same time, and Lex just walks over to him. I'm like, oh boy, this is going to end with someone on the ground. Like Jonathan Kent is Conor McGregor and Lex Luthor is Jose Aldo. If you know, you know.
You think that's how you solve everything, don't you, Lex? Just sprinkle a little money on it and hope the problem goes away. Well, obviously some things are a little more difficult than that.
Jonathan Kent's mad, but not to the point where he loses his composure. Just like, this is just a goated TV character right here. Like, he can balance the line of being really mad, but also not blowing his stack and just losing his mind. It's excellent. And then
he was able to restrain himself.
Yeah, and then it's immediately followed up with,
I didn't think it was possible to fall any further in your father's eyes. Obviously, I was wrong.
Lex is going through it right now.
By the way, have you noticed three things? I have three problems with this scene, though, okay? One, why did Lex pull up in a Hummer? Like, literally, he always drives his car. I mean, I guess he was, all right, I will spin the disbelief that he was at the plant when this happened. But wouldn't that make things worse? You're pulling up like, hey, see, the company's logo that just did this to your thing. Like, at least him pulling up in his Porsche. That would make more sense logically because he's like, look, I was at home. I just figured out. I'm so sorry. Instead, he just pulls up with his team and he's like, Mr. Kin, I'm so sorry. You know, I'm like, dude, that's making things worse, man. That's putting icing on the shit cake you're making. Okay, like don't do that, man.
It like none of it was looking good for him.
Yeah, and also Chloe.
There was no way he was digging out of that situation.
Yeah,
no way.
And also Chloe. Her and Clark got into a fight earlier, and they have not made up yet. And Chloe's there taking video, going, "Oh my God, this is great! I'm taking video of all this. Look at this." I'm like, you and him are not tight right now. Y'all are.
Yeah, you and him are not on the speaking terms. And yet you're fucking taking photos of those poison cows in the field.
Tom Welling dropping one of the best lines of his in this whole season when he says, "I'm not some puzzle for you to solve." Like, I love that line. It's a great line.
Yeah, I brought that up earlier in that another episode, which I was not supposed to talk to. But yeah, that was a great line from Tom Welling. It was a way for him to like keep her of not investigating him. And yeah, it brought up a lot of mysteries about how the adoption papers came to be. Like, because he's technically an illegal alien immigrant. Like, how did Martha and Jonathan Kent pull that off? And they're keeping something from him, and they're not telling him. It's a little bit of a foreshadowing that will eventually get brought up later, which I won't spoil anything. But yeah, that was an interesting scene in that episode.
Yeah, that's definitely a we in the business call this foreshadowing moment, because that's a definite awkward conversation. Because, I mean, Clark knows he's an alien, he came from the sky, but there's definitely some parts left out of there. And Clark or not Clark, but Jonathan and Martha were very sus about when Chloe was asked them. They're like, very playing humana with the whole thing. It's very, very suspicious.
Right.
Also, whenever, like, why would he kill the bad guy? Jude kill the Kent's livestock though to like hurt Lex? I understand it's like, oh, I'm so evil, I'm gonna put a dent in your safety record. And I'm like,
maybe it's because he met Clark and that he saw Clark and he knows he's friends with them, so he probably would hurt him through Lex. And I think that would have made more sense.
What, is he stalking Lex? Like, is he sitting around at the Kent farm and Lex and Clark are talking with binoculars?
Or he probably did his homework on who Lex is he hangs out with, because he knows he's close friends with Clark all the time, and now they're best buddies.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
That's just my guess. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I mean, it's just all speculation. None of us really know.
We'll never know. It's like they're like, "Hey, shut up! Turn your brain off. Who cares?"
But also, Lex getting kidnapped in broad daylight for the second time.
I know, in broad daylight. How did nobody saw that?
In front of cops,
getting tased and thrown in the fucking van.
He says literally, "I'm gonna go tell the sheriff," and he goes, "And what's gonna happen?" And then they got tased or something. Why wouldn't Lex yell, "Help! Help!"
He did not even yell out help. Like, what the hell's wrong with Lex? He did not try to yell out for help.
Like, if I were Lex, I would have been like that dude on the subway, that meme, the video from a couple years ago.
Police! Help! Police! Help! Help! Police!
But no, and the stun gun literally blows him back conveniently into
literally
truck.
Just blows him right back like 2 feet away, like that. That would not happen.
That's a really powerful stun gun. That's the most powerful stun gun ever.
That must have been a powerful fucking stun. That taser gun.
Which I've seen stun guns used on Deadliest Warrior. That is not how stun guns work.
I don't think the writers did their research on that, or they just wanted to make it a little bit more dramatic.
It's like,
That's more like it. Like Lex.
That's how it happened when you get tased like oh, that's how that happened.
Lex just got Shoryukened pretty much.
It'd been funny if Lex pissed himself as he was being tasered. And it's just like there's a urine stain. He's like, God damn.
It's like it's like a lot of these action movies when they have a shotgun and they shoot them and they go flying like 10 feet in the fucking air. Like, I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah, but I thought it was a cool visual to open the episode with Lex in the straitjacket hanging upside down, and just working our way up to the big twist at the end, which I imagine it's going to be rather divisive. The reality that this character who we think is the villain turns out, well, no, he's not. In reality, it was the brother of the girl who he took to the club. So let's discuss that, shall we?
That is so stupid. It is very, very stupid because, all right, so basically you went out, hired a body double and convinced him to go on your murder spree with you just to trick a billionaire who probably, and then basically you're like, okay, and then afterwards, you're like, and then you're like, what was this end game? What do you tell him? Oh, so after we get him, we're gonna got him really good, and then we're gonna kill him. And the guy's like, I'm down for that. Like, no, it's
you did all this just to have him suffer, and so that you can get the truth out of what happened in that night of Club Zero, like what really happened that night. And because there was a cover-up story that Lex had pulled off that was able to get away with it, and he's going through all that trouble to make him suffer, make him feel like shit, and then just simply kidnap him, hug him the straight jacket upside down, and try to get the truth out of him, and get a fucking body double conveniently, get into fucking
a body double, like,
who looks literally exactly like Jude.
Was he like a prostitute or something? The guy pulls up and goes, "Hey, how much?" He goes, "Here's."
He's like on parole or something, and he's begging for money, and he went along with it. Like, wait, what? How does that make any sense? Like, why?
He was working at a diner in Bloodhaven. That's what.
Yeah, dude, yeah, I forgot the Bloodhaven, another DC Easter egg that's from the comics that Dick Grayson is from.
Hey, I'm a welder. I'm gonna pay you a lot of money if you help me commit all these.
Oh yeah, and they brought up Central City, that her brother's from Central City, the Flash.
Which ain't that stupid though? Isn't Matt? Isn't that pretty stupid though? He gets a body double, and then the body double goes along, not calling the police or nothing, going, "Hey, listen, man, I'll be fine walking around, pretend to be a ghost, but I'm not gonna go around killing people. That's too far." Like if someone went to me and said, "You look like my dead son, would you help me scare the shit out of a billionaire?" And I'd be like, "Okay, fine."
Yeah, you're like soon to be a brother-in-law, soon to be brother-in-law. Yeah,
yes. Soon to be brother-in-law. Would you be like, "Hey, I'm gonna kill this guy's life. I'm gonna kill these farmers' livestock. Then I'm gonna kill his bodyguard and cut off his fingers. And then on top of that, we're gonna get him to confess the truth at Bloodhaven. You're gonna torture him. Also, you're gonna kidnap him in broad daylight in front of a bunch of cops and EPA agents."
That was the plan. Not a great plan.
Yeah, that it was a little bit, and he kills him after he reveals himself. What the fuck? Like, what was the point of that?
Obviously,
I don't understand.
He has never seen Scream or Scream 2 because usually it does not work out for the accomplices.
Apparently, but did you know that with Michael Rosenbaum hanging upside down with a straitjacket, he nearly died? Like, oh my god! Like, he was like doing the stunt for real, and it was hurting his head so much. He was sweating a lot. He was he was fucking almost dead, hanging upside down like that the whole time. I can't remember how many hours that they had to do, many takes.
I mean, I thought it was pretty good, but I mean,
Ryan loved the twist. Ryan has the best twist ever.
No, I dug the twist. I didn't think it was it was stupid, but you know what? It kind of worked in some way. I don't know why. Like,
I thought it was stupid. I thought the twist was very, very stupid.
What else could you have done with the elements that have been provided? Like, I was expecting them to be like, that's a clone from Cadmus Labs. I'm like, all right, Cadmus has been established, but that would have been just jumping the shark in season.
Imagine if it was a twist within a twist. Okay, imagine if at Scream, if they revealed that Billy and Stu were the killers, and then they both get killed by another killer, and it's like, oh, this is the real killer. I mean, wouldn't that be stupid? You're like, that's a perfect twist. Like, for instance, okay, what if he didn't die? Or what if he didn't die, and he's like, I thought I died, but then, I survived, and so I'm seeking revenge on you. I lost everything. That would make more sense, even though it'd be stupid, but it would still be better than, I'm a body double. I'm a model, or no, I'm a waiter that looks like him from a doppelganger. Because that to me is disbelief. Like, okay, like it'll be like if you died and someone found you, you a person that looks like you, then they try to trick. I mean, to me would be too hard to believe. Also, instead of seeking vengeance against Lex Luthor, wouldn't you try? Because isn't the sister still alive?
No, she's dead. She killed herself a year ago.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say, if she was alive, wouldn't you try to get the fake guy to marry her? The fake one.
Oh,
yeah, that would have been crazy. But the plot twist of the Club Zero, of saying that Lex was the one that killed Jude, but and then he starts to confess of what really happened, which it was her fiance, who took the gun from the ground after the bouncer dropped it and slipped it under the ground, and she was able to grab it and then did it out of self-defense. Did you really buy that twist? Did you really believe that Lex was like? Did you really believe that she was the one that killed her fiance? Because it could possibly that he might have not have told the truth. That he gets himself stabbed and he doesn't do really much of anything when the bouncer was about to pull this gun out and defends him, but it gets pushed away. The gun slips out of his hand, and she was able to snatch it and then shoots her fiance. And the reason why she killed herself, she couldn't live with the guilt.
I believe that Lex told the truth in this. The only reason why, because Lex does lie, but I don't think Lex would lie about this. I think Lex would be honest, because what has he got to lose? He's literally about to die. So
that's true.
Lex would just say, "I killed her." He would. I think Lex was willing to tell the truth, but I think this was created by the showrunners to shock a person, like, "Oh, she killed her own fiance."
Yeah, but they showed the flashback of him killing the fiance when he was doing his little boxing practice in the gym. Like, from his perspective. So wasn't that just to fool people that he didn't actually?
It's kind of like, I don't know. It's like, remember how in some parts of different shows, someone will get shot and then they'll show every perspective of that person being shot.
Yeah.
And then they'll basically show the real person. It's kind of like that. When Dallas shot JR, they showed everybody in the world shooting JR, and then showed the real person.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's kind of like, who really did this? So basically, I think that's kind of stupid, to be honest. But Ryan seems to love it, so we'll let Ryan have this one. We'll see if Ryan says that's the best twist he's ever seen on this show.
No, I wouldn't go quite that far, and I guess this is my full of shit moment for the week. But I think for the evidence provided, I feel like this was about as good as you can expect from this. And like I said, I think there's a lot of stuff that you raise your eyebrows with, but it involves Lex. Like I said, he's one of my favorite people on this whole show so far. It's exploring his past, which had been kept very much in the dark for a very long time. And so, not perfect, but when the episode hit, it hit really hard.
But I admire what he did, and I hate it.
1 to 10, Jacob, go.
About a 6 out of 10.
All right, Matt, what say you?
I did think it was a solid episode, much of a step up from the last one from Connecticut, so I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I really dug the episode. Not perfect, but I thought the pros outweigh the cons.
From Connecticut, but yeah, let's. I'm going to match your score. I will go 7 out of 10. Not a perfect episode. Definitely some stuff you're like, say what? But again, when the episode hit, it really did hit, and I feel like more Lex is very much a good thing on this show. But let's round things off for this episode by talking about Season 1, Episode 15, called Nicodemus.
Lana Lang undergoes a disturbing change. Pleasure is her only goal.
This isn't you.
I'm not scared of life, and no one can handle it.
Danger, her only desire.
You want me? Come and get me. Wow!
An all-new Smallville.
After stealing an experimental flower laced with meteor rock pollen from Dr. Stephen Hamilton, the employee of the Luthor Corps. Sounds like a wrestling stable, the Luthor Corps, but anyway. James Beals has a truck accident on the road and is rescued by Jonathan Kent. However, the flower releases its pollen on Jonathan's face, and he unleashes his innermost repressed desires, first with Martha, that's for sure, and his anger towards the Luthors. He enters into a coma later. Then Lana becomes affected and tries to seduce Clark. Oh, she does, all right. Pete also becomes affected by the Nicodemus flower and goes from 0 to blue steel in about a millisecond. While Clark helps Lex track down the source, Lex hides from Clark that Dr. Stephen Hamilton is working for him. They find the cure in an old book. So yeah, both Jonathan Kent and Lana Lang go off the reservation in this one. And Pete Ross do as well. They go off the reservation quite a bit. I'm so interested to hear what you guys have to say. Jacob, go.
Well, I do. First off, I really like this episode because this is kind of like Bizarro Land, where everybody basically is sprayed by this toxin, and then they basically just go become bizarre versions of themselves. Like, I really think I love at the beginning of this episode how it starts out with Jonathan Kent listening to a Dukes of Hazzard song, like just
yeah, I didn't know that was it. I had a feeling it had to be a Dukes of Hazzard song because he was a co-star on that show with Dukes of Hazzard. They played Bo Duke. I didn't really watch the show, but I knew he was like the big main character of the show.
There's more Dukes of Hazzard references in this show. I mean, I'm not going to spoil it.
I probably as for myself who has never seen the show, so I'm probably not going to get all the Easter eggs, but some of them I will, but some of them I won't.
I'm just saying, wait till season 5. There is a episode dedicated to the Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh yeah, there's an episode dedicated to that show.
That's a love letter to the Dukes of Hazzard.
Absolutely.
It's like, also, I do like the practical stunt, like that car flipping and everything, and Jonathan Kent rescuing him. That to me, I thought was amazing. I thought that was like when Jonathan Kent, you get to see him be a hero. Usually Clark's the hero, but him to take like that dummy and put it over his shoulders and carry the dummy like that, I was like, that's impressive.
Are you sure that was a dummy, or was that a real person?
You really think that John Schneider could have carried a person?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to tell because it looked so realistic. Yeah, that probably was a dummy that he carried out of the truck. The explosion was pretty dope to see. Like I appreciate the practical stunt work that they pulled off.
Wait, what do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, the stunt was awesome. Like, this show knows how to flip a car, that is for sure. And then Jonathan Kent just gets sprayed by the flower and then just goes completely mental. First, having some sexual healing with Martha for seemingly the first time in a very long time.
He's getting all frisky with Martha there, it was so interesting to see our characters becoming out of character and very bizarre that we have not seen before, which that was hilarious, especially with the scene when he was totally mouthing off to Lex and showing how he really feels about him.
You see, I don't like Lex Luthor. I don't like Lionel Luthor, and I don't like your friendship with my son. In fact, if all of you Luthors were to dry up and die, I wouldn't shed a tear.
Dad, that's enough.
And then he was about to take it, and he just burps right in front of him. Like, I was like, that was a perfect moment that I just died of laughing.
I thought that was so stupid. He burps and Lex just takes it.
And he just took it, and he just sat there and took it.
And we don't even get a rebuttal from Lex.
I kind of cheered. I kind of, for that moment that he did that to Lex, I kind of cheered him on. And then Pete was like, "Yeah, I'm glad I cannot believe he dissed him."
Yeah, and then it goes completely out the window when Jonathan Kent's loan gets denied, and he gets on the phone. And he's like, "I am gonna come down there, and I'm gonna show you. Like, you're gonna say no to my face."
Yeah, listen to me. I have done nothing but give back to this community, and all anyone has ever done for me is screw me over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down there to that bank, and you are going to have to turn my loan down right to my face. That way I can see whether you still have a pair or whether your wife keeps them in a drawer too.
And then he goes there in his truck with a shotgun.
Yeah, with a 12 gauge. Yeah, he goes out with a 12 gauge. I'd like to come down there and to turn down that loan to my face. I've done nothing but giving back to this community, and all you do is screw me over. Like, he was like, John Schneider's performance was absolutely outstanding.
He criticizes that man's masculinity by saying, "Does your wife keep your nuts in a drawer too?"
Oh yeah, he did. Holy shit! Like, he is not holding back for this one when he's under that that freaking spray, like poison thing that he's been exposed to.
And then he shoots Clark with the shotgun. Which literally, my jaw hit the floor when that happened.
Oh yeah. What if he didn't have powers? Oh my god. This would have been different. He would have been dead, dude. He would have inadvertently killed that guy, killed his son. If he didn't have superpowers. He was so lucky. And there was another scene, and I know it's not part of Jonathan, but with Pete talking to Clark about the Luthor family that screwed him out of the cream corn factory, which that was not brought up before until Pete had to open up and try to let Clark know that Lex is bad news. Like, I don't care if he was not the one responsible for my family getting screwed over, but I'm going to tell you, he is a Luthor and he is bad news, and you shouldn't be hanging around with them.
I like that. I like how, I really like how Dr. Hamilton is behind the flowers and all causes the problems. Like, like Lex is telling like, oh, I did my research and all the backstory about this townspeople. Like, and like Lex is like, and Dr. Hamilton is like, that's all fictional stories. And then he's like, oh, so if I pick this up, nothing's gonna happen. He's like, wait. He's like, wait. And he puts his hand up like that and everything. And then he just starts. Lex is like telling that story like about the town people, and I'm like, it's kind of creepy. You're like, oh my god, this is like Invasion of the Body Snatchers in a way, because this is like everybody's just turning crazy because of these flowers.
Yeah, everybody's turning into full of madness, and he's trying to bring back that flower using kryptonite to bring back those flowers that were ancient, like hundreds of years ago.
And then we get Lana. She gets sprayed by the flower, and oh boy, that whole thing.
Oh boy, we see a lot of bizarre, sexy Lana that we have not seen before. She was not the goody two-shoe. She gets a little bit feisty in this episode.
And then the whole pool sequence, I'm like,
oh god, like I was like, come on, you're telling me you're not gonna have a moment of fantasizing and coming true? And Clark was thinking the same thing. And it was so hilarious that she just dissed like freaking Whitney and just saying, "Yep, screw you. You want to make excuses? We're done." She just dissed him right in front of the people in school, like just like a boss.
And then she literally like sees the next football player she sees, like, "Hey, Jimmy," and he's like,
to piss Whitney off on purpose.
That was awesome.
That was priceless.
Did you see his new haircut? I'm like, looking.
Oh yeah, I've noticed his haircut, and that was in the last episode of Zero. It was at the very end when she officially got the talent like officially open, and Whitney was there for a short amount of time.
I was kind of shocked about the hairstyle. I'm like, come on, I like long-haired Whitney. I don't like short-haired Whitney.
I kind of like the short-haired Whitney. I did not like the long-haired Whitney.
This is an evolution. Like, you know, long-haired Whitney.
It's a character growth. It's
short-haired Whitney is like, I'm a more mature. Me and Clark can be friends.
It's like, yeah, it's definitely like more maturity look for Whitney, where now he's officially coming around and mature more and not becoming a douchebag.
I also like how Lana pushes Clark into the pool, and then she runs away, and the principal gets Clark detention. And then Lana
he gets Saturday detention.
Then Lana goes to their job that her and Lex just opened, and Lex is on the phone sitting there, and she gives us everybody is on the house, and then she steals Lex's keys as Lex trying to talk to her.
But that was that was so messed up for Lex for withholding that information with the town when he knows that some of them are getting infected by the flower, and he withheld that information. I was like, dude, have you not been? Why did you not say anything? Don't you think that would have been useful? And it's like, what a dick.
He's a Luther. He's trying to cover his own tracks because, you know, and I understand why.
And it wasn't, but it wasn't his. But he wasn't technically responsible. Like Dr. Hamilton went out on his own without letting Lex know what's really going on, and he's trying to detain and he's trying to de-escalate the situation.
Chloe looks at a photo of Dr. Hamilton. She took a picture at night and just doesn't realize that there's someone else in the woods. And then until the next day when she's looking at a photo, she sees Dr. Hamilton. She's like, hey, he was in the woods with us. Especially when you're at dark, you're gonna hardly see anything. It's like there's no street lights anywhere. You're out in the fucking middle of nowhere. But like he didn't even turn. Like it was like he didn't even know he was being watched. Like he did notice that there was someone out there and there was flashes. That's when he did not notice that there was that was Chloe shooting like snapshotting the camera. That's what he said. Dr. Hamilton. But I think Hamilton's full of shit. I have an HD photo of Dr. Hamilton I did not know I took back. She managed to get him at the right time, like conveniently. You might as well turned his head like this and was like, huh? Yeah, he should have done. He should have done. No, he should have done this. Shocking look. Or like him stealing, or like him digging up like soil and stuff, or more of the flowers like this going. Here's another episode of Unsolved Mysteries. What?
2 in 1 episode. Yeah, but that photo was crazy because like I distinctly remember like early to mid 2000s photography, red eyes as far as the eye can see, more red eyes than like all the Conjuring movies combined. And here like Chloe managed to get it in like 4K quality. I'm like, get out of here with this nonsense.
Yeah, that's what happens in movies and television. They tend to get better quality, but in real life it was like it's all compressed and shit. You're not going to see it very good, especially at nighttime.
In real life, if she took that photo, if she saw him, or let's just say she didn't see him and it was just like the episode, Clark and her would be blurry. She'd be like, "Is that a person?" And I think that's a tree. And they're like, "It looks like there's a jacket right there. That is just a tree, Chloe. I swear that looks like a person." And then like that.
I swear to God, I would have been fucking spooked. Like, who the fuck is out there?
Is
like
it
straight Blair Witch Project stuff?
Oh my God! Now I did not think about it. Oh shit! Yeah, it definitely felt like a Blair Witch Project type of in that scene.
I honestly remember, my brain remembers it. I thought Hamilton was in the woods doing this, like just staring at them creepily, like watching them. I thought that's what it was. It's like I did not know he was just walking by, and I thought literally he was just staring at them, like, "Oh look, it's Dr. Hamilton. He's creeping on us in the woods." He's like, "I like minors. Dr. Hamilton likes minors," so I thought that's why.
But like we touched on briefly, Pete gets more character than he's had in a while, and like I said, he goes like as soon as he gets sprayed with the flower, he goes
makes that blue steel look.
From zero to blue steel. Like, hey, I'm like, where did this come from?
Hey, Chloe, just like being all flirty and acting like a stud.
I have to go get in a gasoline fight accident, and then I have to go kill Lex Luthor. Like, yeah, Earth to Chloe.
But I thought Sam Jones's performance was great when he was under another bizarre thing that we haven't seen Pete in. How furious he was, angry, and tries to put the moves on Chloe. Then he gets rejected. Then he gets a little bit jealous of Clark. Then now he really wants to take Lex out because he knows he's bad news, and he really thinks he's part of the problem, and he's going to get into the way of their friendship.
He put a gun, literally shot at Lex.
He's a fucking horrible shot. I don't know. Was that meant to be a warning shot? And he shot like 5 times. How many rounds are in that fucking revolver gun?
Yeah,
he would have ran out of bullets by now.
And Clark knocks him out. First, he does the deception of, "Lex, I knew you were lying to me," and then like takes Lex out, and then turns to Pete to like, "Pete, go to sleep." And like pats him on the head, and Pete.
Yeah, he pats him on the head because he is incredibly strong, and he can't do the real knockout that a lot of humans can do, because he knows he could have killed them. He would have been dead. So he had to do the fucking pat on the head. It would have been better for him, because it's better than just tossing around and run across the freaking room and get knocked unconscious. Like, I'm sorry, that would have done a lot more damage when he's just always pushing him across the room in a lot of these episodes. But this was very clever for him to do the patting on the head and knock him out cold.
I really like this episode. I really did. Honestly, I hated though that Lex lied to Clark by saying, he said when he was going, "Dr. Hamilton was here," and he was just like, he's delusional, Clark. Dr. Hamilton was not. I'm like,
and he acted like he didn't know who Hamilton was. He acted like he didn't know who the fuck he was, and he lied to his face.
I'm like, come on, Lex, you're supposed to be his best friend.
Yeah, that raised. He should have realized that he's raising a lot of red flags.
Yeah. Also, I just think that really, I really like that. That also like how like Lex gets knocked on his ass a lot in the show. How come Lex doesn't have brain damage? Because every episode he's getting knocked out. That's how Clark does his super speed. Lex or Chloe's knocked out. They're like, or Lana, they're like, and then Clark's like, super speed, knock him out. And then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh God, what happened? Oh, Clark, what? Clark, you're here? Yeah, the bad guy's on the ground. I just knocked him out. It was very easy. Oh, okay." Like every episode, it's like that. I'm just like you would think at least once Lex or somebody was like awake when this happens, and they're just like, "Well, they had weak shoots. They were weak."
Yeah,
shots.
he was knocked unconscious for like a few seconds, and then he's woken up.
That's not how brains work, guys. But
you would have gotten so much brain damage, giving him a lot of concussion.
But I want to touch on this one thing because I thought it was really cool. We get another Lana and Clark moment, kind of similar to what happened in episode 3, Hothead. They're sitting atop the windmill, and it's soundtracked by one of my favorite U2 songs, Beautiful Day.
It's a beautiful day. Sky falls, you feel like it's a beautiful day.
It's some of their finest work, and it's only a few minutes, or it's only a few seconds of it, but just when that that downbeats of "It's a Beautiful Day." It never fails to give me goosebumps. So shout out to the music people behind this episode for choosing a quality track.
Yeah, it was a good quality track, especially when it had a good shot on a green screen with Lana and Clark on a windmill. And then they did it, and then they did an extended like exterior shot from the view where now they were actually on top of the windmill, but not a close up because they were on green screens. Oh yeah, and speaking of soundtrack, I forgot to bring up from that last episode of Club Zero. At the very end of the episode, they play the Kid Rock song "Lonely Road." I forgot to bring that part up.
I
cannot believe I forgot to bring that up.
I forgot to bring that up because that song, I was like, "Is that Kid Rock?" And I'm like, sure enough, yeah. And it was like, it was just so weird.
And you want to know how I know that song? Because back then when I was growing up as a kid, my fucking parents used to play that song all the time in the evening when they drink and they listen to their love song, because that's like their go-to love song is Kid Rock "Lonely Road." Not even kidding. I was like, they were playing it all the damn time when I was growing up.
You know what, Kid? You know, I have to listen to when I was in 2009 when All Summer Long came out, or was it 2011? 2009. All Summer Long came out, and that's all the freaking they play on the radio because I was in the South. And all they played on the radio was either "Poker Face" by Lady Gaga, or Nickelback "Rockstar," or Kid Rock "All Summer Long." That's all they played, and I'm like, every freaking day, it's like, here's "Poker Face," here's Kid Rock "All Summer Long."
Oh, believe me, I've been there. I've been there every time, like back in the mid 2000s when I go to school and I'm on the bus and they played like K9 radio station and they played the same certain pop culture songs that were popular at the time.
Yeah, I remember. I remember when I was going to high school, that one was "Someone Like You" by Adele. You couldn't escape it for like a solid 6 months.
Oh my God, the Adele songs, you could not escape it at all. It was just in your face, even on the freaking radio station that they play on the bus or at school.
Oh yeah, like there's literally, like I said, you cannot escape. Like literally, I'm sitting there listening, like everybody on the radio. Like, you know, this is at a time when I was in like middle school. We did not have like cell phones. Like, you know, everybody like
no, we didn't have any smartphones. No, we had no smartphones to look up on social media. We didn't have any of those. There
listening, like, you know, everybody had MP3 players, or they had like, you know, or you know, they had the bus driver had a radio. And so then they're sitting there, if they're listening to Walton and Johnson, which is a local company that's a radio station. If they weren't talking about the weekly whatever's happening in the news, then they were playing like, oh, well, here comes Kid Rock, or here comes Toby Keith, or Nickelback. And then you're sitting there listening and like, oh God, like, oh, I have to listen to this every.
Oh, and I remember when they were playing a lot of these pop songs like the Pussycat Dolls. Remember that one in the mid 2000s? Remember that?
Got my buttons, baby. Oh, yeah.
Or the freaking Black Eyed Peas.
Hey, the Black Eyed Peas are awesome. Okay.
No, I don't hate. No, it's not that I disliked. I know you're being funny, but it's not like I didn't like any of those songs at the time. But when they overplayed, like, do you want me to hate these songs because they overplay the same once over every day when I go on the bus? Like, oh, it's like,
yeah, like you could not escape the Black Eyed Peas song. Like, I can't remember, but it's "I Got a Feeling."
And that's why I like, at the time I didn't have like an MP3 or any of that stuff. I only had like CDs of bands that I love listening to on the bus.
A fucking CD player, and you could only have one song in there because the CD.
Yeah, I remember having a fucking CD player growing up. I didn't have like an iPod. I didn't have like
headphones that you had to have in your ears, like.
Oh yeah, and the shitty radio headphones that the AM FM radio headphones or a Walkman.
Oh, that was so terrible. I remember that. Like, that was a pain. I remember one time I was walking off the bus and a kid pushed me and my CD player fell and broke.
Yeah, and you had to be very careful of holding on to the CD player and not screw up the disc.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You know, I've had a lot of times where a lot of the songs kept skipping on me.
This right here was my MP3 player in high school, Mickey Mouse one.
Damn.
I carried that
all the way. You still have that?
Yes. It doesn't work, but I have it.
Oh my God.
I remember carrying this all the way through high school, and I just listening to like Ashley Tisdale, or, you know, from like He Said, She Said, or Maroon 5 or Nickelback or Fergie. I remember having to listen to this because that's what my parents would not let me listen to rap music because they had too much cursing in it. even though rap music had better lyrics than music. And I was like, Mom, can I listen to Little John and the East Side Boys? And they're like, hell no, you got to listen to Katy Perry or something. And I just listened to literally having to listen to anything that had cursing I was not allowed to listen to. And so I was like, literally listening to like Ashley Tisdale singing "Sha-la-la-la, Kiss the Girl," and just like her Kelly Clarkson, Never Again. I just remember that heavily.
Those were those were the days of nostalgia back in the day. Oh
yeah, for me, I had an iPod Nano, and mine was the Jonas Brothers because I was a big Disney Channel guy, and they were like,
"Oh, you're not the only one. You're not the only one. I was a big Disney Channel guy a lot. I can definitely relate.
I heard like 2 months ago. 2 months ago, I was listening to the Cheetah Girls, the first song from the first movie.
Oh,
Throw Your Hands Up. On YouTube. I went to YouTube just to listen to it because I'm like, oh, I like that song. I was like, it's not well choreographed, that song, but I really like the song.
Yeah, but back in the day for me, when I pretended that I not like the Jonas Brothers songs, but now looking back now as an adult, I actually appreciate them. They're actually good. I can't lie. Because I think it was one of those times when we were so young and there was such popular music that was like a girly song. But when you look back and now, like, we pretended to not like it, but deep down we actually did. We actually thought they were good.
I still listen to NSYNC. I still listen to NSYNC.
I still listen to Backstreet Boys song.
Tell me why.
Tell me why.
But a dreamscape.
I want it that way.
All right. Well, next week, let's just not do Smallville. Let's just reminisce on old songs we listened to.
that should be like a separate podcast.
Music talk.
I mean, hey, I'm down for that.
How about nostalgia talk?
Oh, there you go. But
see what I just did there?
That's a good one. But to wrap things up, let's go to our rankings 1 to 10 for I can't remember the for I almost said necromancer, but Nicodemus.
Nicodemus.
Jacob, 1 to 10, what you got?
8. I would give it an 8.
Ooh, Matt Wyatt, what say you?
I'm pretty much going to give the same rating as the last episode, 0. I still like 0 more. It's my favorite out of 3. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 for the Nicodemus. God, I can't even pronounce that damn title. It's killing me.
Necromancer, Nicodemus.
I kept trying not to say necromancer. Like, what the fuck? No, it's a different.
is like Inception. I told you not to think about elephants. Now you're thinking about elephants.
Yeah, they should have called it. Yeah, they should have called it flowers.
We're toxic.
There you go. That would have been easier to remember.
You know, I'm going to be generous. I'm going to go 8 out of 10 on this one too. I did enjoy this one. Its craziness was appreciated, but it also narratively served a purpose. There was a clock, like an on the clock element to it. Nice ending, nice middle, nice beginning. So yeah, largely no complaints from me. But yeah, started off kind of weak with Kinetic, but then we rebounded nicely with the last 2 episodes. But yeah, I'm just having the time of my life doing this show every single week. But I pass it off to all of you. What was your favorite of the 3 episodes? Let us know in the comments. And what songs did you listen to, like, on your iPod that you probably were ashamed of back then, but now is cool? Let us know, comment section. Love to read what you have to say. I'm sure Aaron White has a few that he would like to get off of his chest. But I pass it off to first you, Jacob. It's great to be with you every week. Tell the people where they can find you.
Oh, they can find me at 3D Movie Cinema. I just reviewed Strays last week, and so I am reviewing something this week. And so it's, it was fun. Ryan had me on his channel just recently to do Saw 4, and we have me and Ryan, Cam, and Jacob Martin this Friday coming up, which this is recorded, so this Friday coming up. Me, Ryan, Cam, Jacob Martin, and Blacktastic Media are doing a watch-along for the movie Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely check that out over on Jacob's channel. It will be linked in the description. Matt, it's a privilege to do this with you every single week. Tell the people where they can find you.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I'm super grateful to be a co-host on a Smallville rewatch podcast as someone who is a big Smallville fan, and I love talking about it with you guys, having fun, shooting the shit, being funny, looking back on some of the nostalgic stuff. So yeah, if you want to find me on my social media, the link tree will be down in the description down below in Ryan's video. And if you can definitely find me on my YouTube channel, which is Matt Wyatt, and go subscribe to my channel. I just reviewed a couple of movies with the new horror film Talk to Me and the new R-rated comedy Strays, and I will be recording my review for the new film called Gran Turismo. And by the time you watch this video, it will already be up on my YouTube channel. So go and give it a subscribe, like all my videos, and show me support. And I know a lot of you listeners on Spotify, definitely give it a 5-star rating. Go show support of the Smalltalk podcast. I mean, it's a great show, and you'll definitely enjoy us hearing us talking about it and geeking out like hell.
For sure. Matt's link tree is in the description.
We're also on Discord too.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, subscribe to Matt's YouTube channel at the link tree in the description. But as for this channel, like I said, if you like the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, click the bell to allow notifications. If you are listening on Spotify, leave a 5-star review. Love to read and see those and your comments there. But for Matt Wyatt, for Jacob Collins, my name is Ryan Cam. For Truth, Justice, and the American Way, we will see you in the next episode. You all take care.